Those are my favorite part of my day. They're my favorite part of my day, huh? Yeah. Oh, I mean, Phil, you're pretty great too. You're my favorite part of my day, Phil. Waking up to you is my favorite part of every day.
I don't know if I believe her anymore. I used to believe her. She had that honest look on her face, but I think I have been replaced.
Hey, London. Come get some snuggles. Hi, baby. Should we read our YouTube family our very special letter we found?
I think
Yeah,
so.
I think so. About 2 weeks ago, we were peeling up some flooring in Chase's bedroom when we discovered that we found a letter that was tacked underneath the floor with a staple that was from September 6th, 1926.
Wow.
I couldn't believe what I had found, and Philip was in the other room working on our bedroom, and I was like, you're not gonna believe what I just found. This is absolutely amazing. I feel like this house, every time we keep putting more and more love and just like care into changing this abandoned place into a home, I feel like this property gives us gifts all the time. When we were building the horse corral, we felt like we were on the right track because we found a horseshoe under the ground, and we've never known that there was horses here ever in any of the research we've done on the property. We're always trying to find more and more information about it. Finding things like a horseshoe just made us dive that much deeper into what was this property all about, who lived here. We knew, as we joke on our channel, every time a door swings or a light flickers or something, we say, "Hi, Captain Myers," and we get nothing but absolutely good vibes here. So all joking aside, we know that this was an abandoned captain's quarters, and there was a captain who lived here with his family, and we believe that they got married in the late 1880s. And they built this property in 1899. So that is the date that our home was built on. So to find a letter that someone had written to Captain Myers and his wife, September 6th, 1926,
Wow.
means that the person that wrote the letter would have likely been one of the children of the captain who built our house. And after researching our letter now, we know that that is absolutely the case, that the son of Captain Myers, his name is Willie, they named him Bill, that he was the one that wrote this letter to his mother and dad, which I thought was kind of cheeky that he addressed it to mother and dad. So my guess is he had a closer relationship with his dad, giving him like the nickname of dad, and the very formal mother. You're not gonna take my snowflakes.
We have horse problems.
Horse problems. He clearly had a more relaxed relationship with his father, being the son, and he addressed his mother with very respectful, formal mother. I took a couple days, as well as Philip's mom and Philip and I, we just literally tried to go through word for word on this letter to see what did the letter actually say, because the cursive was very difficult. The wording is a little bit choppy, some pages more than others, and by the time we got to page 11, 12, and 13, there's 13 whole pages. It got harder and harder and less legible to read. So we've, I think, decoded what all of this said. Some of it is a little bit juicy, so I'm gonna try to go page by page. I know reading it too is kind of different than how we normally do things, but it's really the only way I can share with you. So we're gonna try to read this exactly as it was written, even though some of it sounds a little bit choppy. Wanna read it to them, Hudson? And what I did was I went and I decoded each page. So this was page 1. I have little snippets, page 2. I've separated it into, where is my page 3? Hold on. Oh, 3 was stuck together. Okay. So I've separated it into little snippets. That way it was, because it was so overwhelming to look at it as a whole. And I got tired by like the 7th page trying to like decode it because the font was so interesting to figure out. So, okay, page 1. So we know from researching now, this is written by Willie, and the last name was Myers. And we discovered that Captain Myers and his wife had 6 children, 3 of which didn't survive past the age of 1, and 3 children that did survive. So in the letter, you're going to hear me talk about Marion, who I believe is a sister, a little bit younger than Willie, and Elsie, who is also a sister, and Willie, who they address as Bill. So you're gonna hear me talk about the 3 children that were the surviving children of Captain Myers and his wife. Dad, I did not write you Sunday as I was forwarding up from West Virginia. I left Saturday morning from Fairmount and arrived here Sunday at noon. Believe me, but I slept sound. I was real tired, but I'm okay now. Dad, I did not have such a fine trip. Rain and fog, it was very slippery, and I had some steep mountains to travel over, about 500 miles. Elaine and Helen went to Montreal for the holidays. Marion is over there now. I really can't understand Marion. She is a crossword puzzle. That's his sister. Marion is his sister. So Marion is a crossword puzzle. I don't, or at least I wouldn't be surprised if she and Cliff did not get married. They are two of a kind. Marion really had no license to go over there. A little bit juicy, apparently doing illegal things to get from one place to another. Had no license to go over there when Cliff was working, and with his mother and brother to support, she seems to think that Cliff can make money or get it from some unknown place. I wouldn't dare tell her of Winnie, as I did one time, in which was necessary as a brother. So he's trying to say, like, he told her something that he thought was necessary to tell her, being her brother, but she went and told Cliff and everyone, and he had told her in confidence. So clearly he's a little bit thinking that his sister Marion is a gold digger and that she thinks that this guy Cliff can just get money from anywhere, and she's mooching off of Cliff and Cliff's parents, and Cliff is supporting his mother and apparently Willie's sister Marion when she's very capable of doing work on her own. And she's apparently a blabbermouth because everything he told her, she went and told everyone. This is page 4. And it wasn't anything concerning, but she didn't think that Cliff and the relatives really needed to hear about it. I cared not pound it into her head what Cliff was just as hard up as I was. So he's saying that Cliff doesn't have the money that she thinks Cliff does, but she's still mooching off of anyways. She doesn't know a lot, or at least she thinks that Cliff has property, which he hasn't. I know the whole family as well as they do themselves, and I would hate to see Marion disappointed. They say love is blind. Thank God I will never be blinded by it, although I think you think I'm in love with Lois Barnes.
Oh.
I must be a very unhuman person, as I really don't know any person what could make me love them so much that I would be lover blind. I hear from Lois. She had a trip up here to Philadelphia, but sorry to say I was not around. Page 6. So he thinks it's very foolish that Marion is in love. He's never going to be blinded by someone so much that he would make responsible decisions just because he's in love. I'm writing her tonight. She's okay, but neither of us are in love. Only real good friends. To write you that letter, I just felt that way, and if I had been a question of being worried, I would have been a more serious-minded person. Very difficult to decode. It's getting harder and harder as you go through the letter. Oh yes, I almost forgot. I am going back to Mexico with Harry. We are leaving here tomorrow, Saturday, 6 to via New Orleans. Have a compartment to ourselves on the train. Real style. The company is financing the trip. I stand Friday, and here it is Friday. Have not sold my car yet, but a friend of Dick will take it for $300. If Dad is near, he could bring it home for $225. Has gone some good miles and in perfect condition. Harry and I have been downtown in it every day, buying all around town when we are definitely in Times Square. It was traffic jams and have not been derailed one bit. It has been quite a stram for the first few times and never a pleasure. Not entirely sure what that part means, but I think he's trying to say his car's been super reliable. They take it all around Times Square and they haven't had a problem with it. And he's trying to sell it for $300 and $225 to bring the vehicle to the person who's trying to buy it. Elsie and Helen, Elsie is another sister, had a good time in Montreal. I had Helen out for a ride in the day, and in the evening, Helen even drove down to 72 2nd Street subway and went down on their way home. Elsie was a little nervous with me driving, but thank goodness it wasn't a Wednesday. Must be busier traffic on Wednesdays, and Elsie was always very nervous in the vehicle, it seems like. I went down to Philly and signed off with a firm. I am anxious to get work again and really like that I'll be going down there, as I will be able to at least save money, and although it's a long way from you, I am still with your writings and mums. So here he addresses his mom as M-U-M-S, like mums. And at the beginning of the letter, he wrote mother and dad. So he kind of changed his writings along the letter. I've never felt that I've been long away from you guys, and someday we, Harry and I, will have enough to start a business for ourselves up and around New England states. And when you and Dad can come over and live with one of us, how would you like that? You would not have to deal with any daughter-in-laws and you would just be like the school days again. So he's basically saying him and Harry, I'm not sure who Harry is, maybe a friend. I don't think it's a sibling, because when I researched the family, there was no sibling that they had named Harry. But he's saying his parents, when he gets his business started, can come down to New England State and the parents can live with him and they wouldn't have to be stressed and worry about any annoying daughter-in-laws because he doesn't plan on falling in love with anybody, so they wouldn't have anyone to deal with.
He would never be so love blind.
He would never be so lover blind.
Lover blind, yeah.
So, and he's saying that mom and dad could come live with him and it would be like when he had his school days, which I think is kind of fun because he's reminiscing, clearly had good times as a child.
When they came and visited.
When he would live with his parents. Yeah, when he was younger, like school days, they would all be together. One never knows. I'm very, very sorry to hear of Dr. Daesh, and Elsie was feeling very bad over it last night. I like Harry fine. He was a good word for everyone, which is to me a sterling quality in anyone and a heart as big as an elephant, and is going to help me make money down here. We're all going to Ezrace. Couldn't quite make that word out, so I'm not sure, but it looks to be Ezrace. So I'm not sure if it's a name of a place or of a building or some type of a, institution or something. And he's going to go there with Helen, Elsie, Vivian, Harry, and Mrs. SVAZ. So I'm not sure, he doesn't address those people in the letter at any other time. Okay, page 11. I wish Marion would use, he is so worried about his sister Marion. I wish Marion would use distraction and not stay so long at Mallory, which must be the last name, I think, of Cliff, who she's mooching off of, as Cliff has a mother and brother to support, and now with no job and no consequences. Of course, he naturally would want her to stay with him, but right there. But when she uses her own judgment and figures out that she has stayed too long, he's hoping that she leaves and goes back to her own place where she's not mooching off this family. Then again, it's not my principle to stay unless married, as a family's home into not good gosh for a relative to use over the breakfast table. So I'm thinking he's saying she's eating their food, she's overstaying her welcome, and he wishes that she would just stop being distracted by the fact that she thinks she's in love with this man who she thinks has money and property, which clearly back in the early 1900s was a really endearing quality of a man to be able to support you. And she was mooching off of a man that she thought had some funds, who's just trying to get by. He doesn't have a penny to his name, according to Willie, and she's eating their food, staying at their place, and saying she's in love with him. Okay, page 12. This is where it got really difficult to read, so hopefully we can kind of make sense of some of this. I surely would love to see Marion married one day, though, and settle down comfortably. I would have less worry over her. I have been vaccinated and got my passport photos, and when everything is all ready, I can go. But for my car, which I have disposed of tomorrow by noon. So he's saying that he can't leave to go work at this firm that he signed with until until he sells his car to this gentleman, Dick. And the Captain Myers is going to bring it for $225 fee to be able to get it to there. And then he says that he will write her, which I think he's talking about Marion, that he will write Marion and let her know that he thinks of her all the time and that he wishes her good luck. He really doesn't need to worry over her, as she has a good backing from mom and dad, so Captain Myers and the wife, but he still worries because he's the brother. He says that he must start and write her, and that he wishes that everyone was all near, and that he will give him the car and have the balance owing of $225, but he hasn't the time now to take it over himself. He can pay whenever he feels like it. So obviously he's not desperate for the money, because he's saying this man can just give him the money whenever he has it. He just wants to know that the car is sold and spoken for, so he can go along on his travels to work at the firm that he signed with. I think it said in Philadelphia. Lois can run downtown with it. So Lois is going to take the money once the car gets to where it needs to be. Now, mom and dad, I will write you en route lots of love to Roos and Trio if they're home. So I'm not sure who those people, to Roos and Junior, not sure if they're home. And then he signs it by the name of Bill, which I've found online is the nickname for Willie. His official name was Willie Myers. So kind of juicy that he thinks his sister's a gold digger.
Yeah, that's so good.
The family drama that go along with it, and he clearly cares for his siblings a lot, and he's addressing them in the letter, and he obviously has a lot of respect for his parents and had a really good childhood, because he is encouraging them to have faith in the fact that he's going to run this business and that they're going to be able to leave their life here at this house and go live with him and have no worries, and he'll cover all the expenses of everything. And He clearly has quite a lot of people around him, so he seems to be someone that has friends outside of the home, and he's clearly in the state somewhere, because he talks about Philadelphia and New England State, and he's talking about his travels, and obviously at one point had enough money to be able to purchase a vehicle, and he has some type of an education or a skill in doing something because he's just signed with a firm. So it's just interesting. So we have plans for the letter. So these are just my copies that I rewrote. I didn't want to bring the originals outside because we are going to take a copy of them, which we can keep for ourselves. But we plan on putting the originals back under the flooring, which is why we haven't finished putting the new flooring in Chase's closet yet, because we need our YouTube family's help. We want to write a letter that hopefully someone in 100 years or however many years will change up the flooring that we're putting in now and find the original letter as well as the letter that us, the English family, and our YouTube family are going to write. So use the comment section. Let us know, what should we include in our letter? We want to write a 13-page letter just like they did. We're going to include a family photo, probably include a little snapshot of like our YouTube page and a few other fun details. And we want to write the letter from our YouTube family and from the English family saying, we found this letter from 1926. It is now 2023.
Wow.
So almost 100 years from the first letter, and why we decided to write the letter. What should we write in the letter? We need your help. We don't want to leave out anything because we're going to write it, put it underneath, and close up the flooring, and then forget about it and hope that someone one day finds it. But we also found out some more really interesting information. I ran into a local gentleman who lives just down our little Cole Harbor Village way here, and he told me that he knows where Captain Myers is. You know that beautiful church that was across the road? It just got demolished several months back, and we were very sad to see the church go. It was beautiful stained glass, and it's just an absolutely like beautiful staple in the community. So it was kind of strange that the church went down, but I understand like the logistics of everything. It was starting to crumble, and there's a cemetery there. Captain Myers is right over there. Captain Myers Memorial Stone is right across the street on the hill. It was on the church property, which lines up with so much that we already found out about our house, that our dining room was often used by the church for gatherings, and a lot of different like community events and stuff happened apparently at our house because at that time it was the biggest house in the area for a lot of people to congregate together. So it makes sense that he was buried in the lands of the church right across the road. We think we're gonna go over and pay respects to Captain Myers and thank him for our home and take a little gift over to leave for him. We often see there's some like solar lights and stuff over there, so we thought we'll go over there one day, the four of us, and visit Captain Myers, because we honestly talk about Captain Myers
His
so much in the house.
wife is there too.
And we think the wife is there. I don't know exactly, I just know the information like from the local gentleman, but I'm guessing that other family members are there, so it'll be interesting to see. We want to go over there in a really respectful way and just show our love and support to Captain Myers and let him know that we're making this house that he once built with love for his family, that we're doing the same for ours, and how thankful we are. This house has given us so much, and moving to this property has absolutely been a life-changing experience for all four of us, and we absolutely love it here. We have zero plans on leaving. So the love that we feel from the start of what he started here, we want to know more and more about, you know, what were they doing on this property? What was the house used for? Anything about the family. So if you are researching and you want to go, Captain Freeman Myers is his name. I'll put some information in the description box so you can kind of like go wild and go down the rabbit hole and try to find information if you'd like to. We've had lots of questions about, read us the letter, hurry up. Like, we want to look up some things about this captain and his family. So I will put as much as I know down below for you to like figure out for links, but it has a really interesting and historical story here in Nova Scotia. Thank you for listening to our letter. It's always fun to find interesting things here on the property, and goodness knows what else we're gonna find as we finish renovations and really like tackle outside stuff, because we have found some really neat things already. So thank you for being part of our journey and the Captain Myers family journey, because this was just really something that was so special to find. So I love you. Thank you so much. We are working in the bedroom today, finishing up some things for our bedroom reveal, and we will see you more this week. I love you, and I will see you tomorrow.